Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Metal Markets. I'm Marcus D. If you're new here, I've been trading for almost 20 years. I'm a commodities trader and I specialize mainly in metals and energies markets. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. All right. Now, I am feeling a little bit off today because I had a bit of a wobble with my stupid illness, but yeah, I'm getting better. So I don't know whether I'll be able to live through the whole 90 minutes, but you know, we'll see. I had all my coffees and we have nicotine to help us along, right? So refreshing that I can smoke on my own stream. All right, I've got a long crude oil here. The idea was that we have a B-shaped profile. So I was looking for a little bit of a pullback, at least towards the value high. It's not really quite happening at the moment, so I may have to kill that and then wait for the setup that I want to really do, which is a higher probability one, which is on copper. I would like it to get into this zone where I have this rectangle, because there's a number of things happening, but it is a large chop zone, all the way from 620 to 625. So if it can get literally anywhere inside that zone, I will be fine with that. Let's quickly have a look at some large time frames and then also talk about options positioning, which I think is pretty interesting on copper and gold, really. But let's go into the weekly chart, like massive time frame. Let's make this bigger as well. All right, so weekly time frame looks bearish to me, right? So we made an all-time high, sold off, created a bit of a phase 3 distribution, and now it's kind of skewing to the downside. Out of all the metals today, copper is the one that didn't have a freak out implied volatility rising overnight, as these drops have been happening over the last couple of days. So out of all the metals, I am reading copper as the most sane one, where the sell-off is actually pretty expected and orderly, right? When you have implied volatility falling whilst the price is falling, that means it's healthy, right? So if you have things that are happening in gold right now, which is everything selling off and the implied volatility rising, that's the market pricing in the fear premium. And that means that people who are short, they're getting paid to be short. So that put protection premium is definitely paying them. But it also means that everybody's a little bit freaking out, right? We had some CPI numbers yesterday, and although they pumped the copper higher, ultimately it turned around and started massively selling off for the post-NY cut day trading time zone. This is something I teach in the Pro Development Program. So that was pretty normal, and I did take that. So yesterday was a pretty decent day for me, but I did take a payout, so I didn't trade all of the funded, so I had to put 2 of them on hold whilst the payouts were being processed. But now we can kind of continue where we left off. So the daily chart does have, this is copper obviously, so the daily chart on copper does have some localized low, and they're sort of battling, but ultimately I don't really expect that to do anything, because it's all a part of a big distribution curve, right? So this is all one big distribution, this big supply area here. I would like to see it down to 610 at some point. That is just, I think it's just under the ADR low. So let's just do our due diligence here. Have a look at where we are. Yeah, so ADR low on the day is sitting at 611. right? And then we have this weaker put level, but again, because of the way the price is behaving, when we get all the way down there, that's a pretty good target. We just need an entry. We need an entry. So we'll see what happens there. Gold is in a bit of a mess. Breakout central. So it says bullish here. Now what does Blahtech GL mean when we say bullish? It means that the put call premium is still skewed in the call's favor. However, over the last 2 days, if you are in my Discord channel, yesterday I posted that we had the overnight increase of puts by 6,000 new puts that have been placed into the market. Overnight last night, we had 2,000 more puts. Okay, so whilst the calls are still, prevalent, this new open interest on the put side is basically making all of that practically bearish. Okay, does that make sense? And we're still in negative gamma on gold. The gamma flip is way up at 43.60. Of course, I'm using the monthly options to figure out where we are. And yeah, so to me, gold is still looking quite bearish. There is a little bit of a caveat though, because we are sitting at a moderate put support area at 4100. Now, if that decides to break, if it gives way, then this opens up the possibility for a more serious drop, maybe towards the end of the week at 4,000. We do have Friday coming up tomorrow, and sometimes Fridays can bring take profit moves where the whole day goes against whatever the day is, whatever that week has already done, right? So that's something that needs to be in your plans as a possibility that, we may have a pullback on Fridays. And similar thing goes for Mondays. Mondays tend to statistically go the opposite way of whatever the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will do, and then you get another take profit move. Obviously, it's not like 100%, so don't be going in on Monday going, well, because Friday sold off, well, we need to go long. But in case you see something on profile and the day starts to develop to that opposite side on Mondays and Fridays, just, be aware of it. But don't sort of set your watch by it, because it's not every single week. But it's often enough when you look at years of data to kind of just take note. Now, if Fridays end up being the end of the month or end of the quarter or something like that, this effect can be even more pronounced. Now, this week we don't really have that. We're kind of almost halfway through the month. But yeah, for me, gold is still very bearish. Some put support at 4,100. And I've actually switched off the long side on the bots because I don't want them going and trying long trades. They're super risky at this particular time. So we have to be fully aware of what the market is doing. All right, crude oil. Crude oil is in rollover. This is another reason why I'm trying this more of a range-bound sort of trade. Because any sort of momentum trades during the rollover, again, yeah, they can happen. They can happen. Anything can happen. But generally, it's one of those situations where the volume gets split between the current contract and the new contract. And then you get this messy sort of outlook that doesn't quite paint the full picture. So if I look at the options positioning, a lot of the options just disappeared, right? So they got pulled off the table. Why? Because people are starting to consider the next month, which will be August, as the one where they want to be either rolling into or switching over any kind of spreads and positions that they have. And that causes this weirdness. And a lot of the time it will show up as a very, very kind of quiet time, a lot of range-bound days. So last night, obviously, we had a big sell-off. We had that news that Apache helicopter got downed, and therefore that the US is going to retaliate. So obviously everything rallied to high heavens, to the moon. But unfortunately, that didn't really hold through Asia. And in the true vein of Tom and Jerry chase, which is again another concept that I talk about in the Pro Dev program, they just ran it all the way back down and then some. So right now we're actually sitting right at the top of yesterday's value high from London session. We are sitting just under this NYMEX value. I don't know how much you can see that, but the NYMEX value is sitting at, let me grab a price of that, at 89.36. If we remain underneath that area into the NYMEX Open, that would be giving way to two potential setups: a value low test and a reversal and then a continuation, or that special situation play of value acceptance where you accept value and then you expect it to rotate higher. One caveat with that particular scenario is that we have this gamma flip level that also has a gamma wall where a bunch of calls are sitting, and on crude oil 46 contracts is actually a pretty decent amount. So I would kind of call that more of a moderate level, because it's a thin market, right? So you're not going to see, like, 700 contracts. Crude oil very rarely does that because it's it's just not that kind of a product. As opposed to something like ES, for example, that will have a ton of contracts at the moderate put and support, put and call level. So that is, definitely an area of interest. But at the same time, because of the rollover, I will be slightly careful running any sort of massive trades. And actually this target, for me, is actually pretty aggressive in that context. So what I'm going to do, if this makes a move anywhere, if we ever get anywhere near 90, and to be honest, even anywhere near this developing orange line of value high for the London session, I will be pulling this off. So, this is like too big of a target in this situation. So we're looking for more range-bound meandering back up towards the gamma flip of 90 and this developing value high. But again, in the true hallmark of the range day, we're very, very range bound at the moment, very quiet. It's just kind of meandering. So we need to wait until things liven up a little bit the closer we get to NYMEX. But yeah, the primary reason here is B-shaped day and value high from yesterday, London session. Usually you expect to see some sort of a mean reversion, but I don't expect it to be any sort of a crazy momentum trade. Of course, that could change if somebody says something, if they open up their mouth and go, "We're destroying the civilization today," and then everything kind of goes insane. And again, I said it before, I hate trading during the US hours because everybody's awake, Trump is talking, tweeting, truth socialing, whatever the hell he's doing. There's a lot of headline risk flying around, so just be careful of that. Let's have a look at what's on the calendar, and then we're going to say hi to chat. We're just doing our due diligence on the levels and stuff. So today we have PPI coming up. There's some stuff coming out of Euro as well in about an hour. Maybe we'll have a look at DAX to see whether it has any sort of a reaction. But DAX today is a bit meh. It's opening inside value. It is pretty quiet. Here it is. What does the daily look like? Now, DAX doesn't really trade overnight, so any kind of concept of Asia high-low is a bit muted. So it's just loading up. It takes a little while to do that. Right, so I mean, this is very messy, right? So what do we have? We have one big push. Price did not stay away from it for very long, so that could signify weakness of this area. I also think that this is a little bit too high in the overall distribution curve to give a decent reversal, but hey, it's an equity index, so anything can happen to the upside. People sure love buying things. So maybe the rate decision, we can wait for it and then see if we get some kind of an exhaustion volume bar. Then maybe look for a mean reversion of some sort. But yeah, we're not going to be trading into the Euro rate decision. Definitely not. Daily chart, similar situations. So we do have a demand area all the way down. We have an offspring zone overlapping the originating zone. We have the gamma wall at 2400. And that is just under the average daily range low. So that would be an exhaustion of the statistical range to the downside. Let me just double check that. No, okay, that was the average London session. Just there. The actual average daily range low is way past that. So yeah, the 2400 gamma wall definitely within the day's reach. We do have this 24,200 moderate level, but again, everything is inside value. I think they're waiting for this rate decision, and there's no, there's no real point trading any kind of euro-related products until they definitely decide that they're gonna make a move, wait for that initial reaction to settle, the dust to settle, and then maybe you'll have a pretty decent setup there. So, yeah. So not too much on DAX at the moment. All right, let's have a look at some bookmap. Crude oil looking a little bit skewed to the downside. The delta is kind of growing. Shaved off decent amount. Yeah, it's looking a bit bearish there, but again, I think my stop is at a pretty decent area. It is well below this 89 level. So if we get smacked on the face, so be it. But no, let's give it a little bit more time, because right now it's just literally sitting in that bottom quarter of the entire distribution curve and teasing the developing value low. So there's no decision here just yet. There's some liquidity that turned up at 88.80, but again, that's, all a bit messy and screwy because of the rollover. So we're gonna have to be a little bit more patient there. Right, copper is kind of going into my zone of interest. So I'm gonna be watching that. I'm gonna change the tape to our little copper friend, and then we're gonna have a look at who's in chat. All right. We have Seven Hebu, Rob, Keith, MPC, Andrea, Initial Maverick, Bartang, City Sarah, Zaid, Vital is here, our old favorite, Christopher, Sveto, obviously our friend Nightbot with some interesting links that you may want to check out. How's my sleep schedule looking for a Globex open stream? So, at the moment I've been trying to sleep, but yeah, it is definitely a possibility. I'm exploring sort of like one of those weird sort of AI things that you talk, so it's your voice, everything's happening, but you have like a weird avatar, so you look, you look like an animal that's talking or something. So, I might do that because I don't really feel like putting my face on at everything at 1 a.m. in the morning. Maybe not this week. Let me see how my schedule is looking next week, okay? Whether we can maybe do a third stream that's going to be a Globex stream. But yeah, it's going to be a weird animal talking, but it's going to be my voice in real time talking to you. So I'm just exploring that to see how I can make that happen. It is coming though. Definitely coming. Globex has been pretty good, but it has been kind of skewed to the mean reversion and then, range effectively. So gold has been doing that for a while. But yeah, maybe we can do that next week. I don't know what day. Maybe, maybe do it Wednesday or something. yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I have to see like what my schedule is like, because we're actually working on this really exciting new thing that I can't really talk about yet, but it's gonna be pretty cool. What animal am I going to be? I don't know, Initial Maverick. I don't know. I'm kind of considering like sheep or something. Like maybe a lizard. I don't know. A cow? Moo. Yeah, the sheep looks pretty funny though. So there's a company called Delulu, and it's not perfect because obviously you're trying to stream real time, and it's like doing all of this processing, so it looks a little bit odd. But it's always quite fun whenever I see like people using it. So yeah, we're gonna have to try doing that at some point. Bob needs an AI avatar girlfriend. I agree. He's I think he's at that age where he should be thinking of a relationship, right? Bob is the lizard in the background, our little ambush predator. Do I skip trading on Fridays? No, not at all. Actually, Fridays are pretty decent for me. Some of my biggest days happen on Fridays. I don't really skip any particular days, right, Vital? So I'm not one of those people who's like, oh yeah, there's no setups. Now, Freaky Fridays were definitely a thing, and they still are, because of that take profit move where, you know, everything gets a little bit weird. Equities like to do these zombie rallies. They're just going to keep going. Commodities like to, you know, do the take profit moves, or they're super quiet. But either side, it's actually a decent day to try and generate a little bit more extra buffer. So the only thing that I do on Fridays is that I size down. So instead of, for example, trading one full crude oil, do or die, on the bigger accounts, I would maybe just stick to about 3 to 5 micros crude, or same thing with gold, you know, instead of trading, because gold is like insane with the volatility, so I am on micros there, however you turn it. So for example, rather than trading 5 micro gold, I might trade 3, right? And that would be the only sort of adjustment that I would make, especially if I'm up on the week quite a bit. And I don't want to ruin my weekend. Like, who wants to do that? That's like, don't do that, right? Don't don't ruin your weekends, guys. The amount of people when we did like the VIP coaching in Top Step who would ruin their entire week, blow up an account on a Friday. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, you have money. Like, you've made money. It's almost like, you know, working at 9 to 5 from Monday to Thursday, and then on a Friday you decide to like go on a complete blowout, and you got paid, but then you spend all of it on like drugs, gambling, you know, strip clubs, and then you have no money. So it's like, who does that? Don't do that. What is my Apex coupon code? So here's the thing. I don't really have a dedicated one. So if you want to use the link, you have to click the link and then just use it like a general code, which is save 80, save 90. Whatever, like both of those codes will work, and then it gets assigned to me. And I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and me. Much appreciated. I do have I do chat to all of the companies that I'm affiliated with. So I should probably work out something, but at the moment, the only kind of dedicated code that I do have is for trade day, which is Grasshoppers. And that will give you the best available discount at the moment. For Apex, like I said, I never really felt the need to kind of go, oh, let's do like a custom code. Maybe I should, I don't know. But it kind of works either way as long as you just click that link and the cookie gets assigned to me. But yeah, I'll reach out to the affiliate dude and see if I can sort out a dedicated code. But yeah, it never, I don't know why, it never actually occurred to me to do that. Because again, the whole affiliate thing, it wasn't, it wasn't like my primary thing that I was doing. And it was just like, it's just there. And it's a nice you know, little chunk of change that comes in. But you're noticing I'm not pushing codes in your face and stuff. Because I personally, when I'm watching the stream and there's like a big ribbon at the bottom, use code this one to sign up. And it's like, yeah, good going on the marketing, but I'm always kind of suspicious of, bar a couple of people, a couple of traders like Rips and stuff. I'm very suspicious of the skills involved when somebody has to push their code in your face that much. It's just my opinion. Nothing against it. Absolutely nothing against it. Get all the money that you can. You know, we all have families. I've got a million dogs, and you know, I'm nothing against it. I'm just saying that, you know, there's a nice way and there's the hard sell way. You know. Ten Trading, Francis is here. So great to see you, Francis. So here's the thing. Fran and I know each other from Top Step, and about, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago, Fran actually invited me to be a part of a little sort of weekend gathering in Cotswolds, and he rented this beautiful house for his community, and there was only like, I don't know, about 8 or 9 people there. But it was so nice, so I gave a little presentation the next day. We all hung out. I got to meet everybody. So if you don't know about Francis, he's 10 Trading. Go check out his channel. He is such a cool dude. He's a former footballer, like professional Arsenal footballer. And you might even remember him from back in the day when he was doing that professionally. So yeah, check him out. He's a great trader. He has that former athlete discipline and motivation and due diligence with everything that he does. So he's one of the people in the industry that I absolutely adore. He's a very cool dude, probably one of the nicest people in the industry as well, which is very rare. And you know, I want to thank Francis for inviting me because it was such a nice couple of days. So yeah, that was an event. I haven't done the sort of in-person stuff for a very long time. So that was a nice little change of pace for me. All right, is that news? What is going on? Things are jumping. Do we see that? There's a bit of jumpiness. Jumping. What's his name? So it's 10 Trading. Like 10 Trading. He's in chat. He just posted. So if you click on his username, it will take you to his channel. But his actual name is Francis Green. Dr. Dax says, you are a brand for a while. Might as well take the spoils that comes with it. Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. Again, I'm not, you know, I've always been sort of musician, trader. I've always maintained that I'm actually a terrible saleswoman. I think that remains. I think I've gotten better over the years. But again, I hate that sort of hard sell nonsense that you come across in the trading industry, because I think it's so disingenuous and sleazy. And you know, a lot of the times, apart from, like I said, very few people in the industry, there's no real substance to it. It's like, oh, here's a bull flag, this is the candlestick. It's like, shut up. Like, everybody knows that. Just teach something that's actually worthwhile, you know. So again, you know, you have to realize that my background is not marketing or any kind of affiliates and stuff. Is this news? This is news, isn't it? All right, let's have a look. What is going on? U.S. forces disable oil tanker violating blockade in the Gulf of Oman. Is that it? Probably. Let's jump down to a 5-minute time frame because we can see what is happening here. All right, so copper has decided to go on a bit of a run. It looks like we might have to wait for 6:30. Not the time, the level. 6:30. But yeah, let's see how this 5-minute bar finishes, whether it was just like a yo-yo move and then storm in a teacup, or whether there's actual substance behind it. Like for now, it's still very wicky. Copper and gold are kind of correlated, but they're different enough to warrant maybe a bit of a spread situation. They were like super correlated up until about, I think about a few days ago. And now copper kind of is starting to have a bit of a mind of its own. All right, 2 minutes 40 seconds until I make a decision whether to kill the crude oil or to keep it. Or it might decide for me. It'd be nice if copper kind of swipes through the Asia high and then reclaims. That's actually one of the strong setups. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Do you remember Total Recall? When his face is like going all massive and he's going, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And it's like melting. Yeah, it's just me. Leah says, oh, Leah is here. Leah? I think it's Leah, isn't it? Leah. I do remember you. Got a nice cushion on my XFA now. Well done. That's very good. She says, take deep been a while. CL delivered today, quarter short from 91.87 to 88.79. Whoa! Oh my goodness. I wish I had that soundboard, because that's a massive trade. Very, very nice. Dr. Dak says, you and I remember Total Recall very differently. Yeah. MPT says, this might sound rude, but I don't mean it this way. We don't come here to admire, just face D. Doesn't matter if you put on a face. Yeah, so here's the thing. I actually turned up a couple of times, well, more than a couple of times, without any makeup on. And this goes back to, you know, and when I got sick, there were some days where I just really didn't have the strength. So it was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just going on however I look. But you always get people who want to watch the show. You know, you have to understand that this is it's a very visual medium. So if I like turn up scaring, like looking like I'm going to scare small children, that's not very respectful to you as the viewer. And I always have that in my mind because I was a musician. And whilst at the time when I couldn't, do the whole makeup thing, I wanted to turn up, I also looked quite terrible. Like you can go through some of my previous live streams where I'm just like looking like I died 3 days ago, and then I'm slowly decomposing. The rigor mortis is setting in. And then you get trolls, right? So you then get people who are like, so I had quite a few of them who are like, I don't trust a woman who doesn't take care of her looks. And I'm like, yeah, okay, pipe down, you in your mom's basement. But it kind of they did make a good point. And it wasn't just one, there was another one. It's like, put some makeup on. So I was like, cheeky fucker, okay, yeah, great. You don't know what's going on with me, so, let's not even go there. But yeah, you just get these like comments of like, oh, what's going on? Like, are you like homeless or something? And I'm like, really? That's pretty mean, dude. So yeah, and since then, and then obviously, being a part of Top Step, you are required to look a certain way and to be presentable, to like specifically not smoke, not drink, not eat on air. Like that's this whole thing that, obviously they, as a large channel, they want to, make sure that everybody looks presentable. So I'm actually down with that. So I always want to look presentable for whoever decides to share my time with, share your time with me, right? So otherwise it will be, I think, very disrespectful if I just kind of roll out of bed and just go, hey guys, yeah, what's happening? Let's do some trading. Just screwed up my hair now. Yeah, so it is a personal preference, but now that I feel a little bit better, I just see no reason why I shouldn't look presentable for everybody. But yeah, it's just me being a musician and a, you know, media person for so long. Andrea says, I feel like it was never about trading on a Friday or Monday. It's about traders' addiction to do stupid shit in the markets. Staying disciplined 4 days and Friday calls for disaster. That's a mind. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Dr. Dak says you can hire a remote agent that does this stuff for you. Believe it or not, I had 3 different marketing teams. They have zero clue about the industry. They're all now pushing a lot of AI generated slop. And whenever I read what they want to do, I would be like, I'm not saying that. It's all to do with like how to get profits. It's like, first of all, I'm seriously qualified. I have certain disclaimers that I have to place, and you will see them on my channel. You will see them on my Instagram. You will see them on my Twitter. You know, we are vendors for NinjaTrader. Again, they also require us to have all of this. But also as a part of my qualification, I can't just claim things when we all know that trading is very much a mental game. So you give the same setup to like 100 different people, you're going to get 100 different results. Just purely from that perspective, you simply cannot claim that anything is going to help, because it's just not true, right? So because of that, am I using institutional levels and dealer positioning, auction theory, all the stuff that you can read in real time? Yes, but you can give that to a person and they can still overtrade because they stare at bookmap and they're doing multiple trades around the same level, chopping themselves up. They can't stop. Like, that's not, you know, that's not a fault of anybody's system or program. It is entirely a PB-CAC error. Was that problem between keyboard and chair? And because of that, we had to put disclaimers on. So, you know, whenever marketing people go, how to generate profits quickly, it's like, okay, we can't say that. And then, you know, a lot of my videos that were long form before, especially when I still had an active IAD license as well, that one comes with a whole bunch of stuff. You have to pull under MiFID rules whenever you're doing stuff. Because MiFID 2 is this regulation in the UK where you cannot advertise in any certain way anything related to the actual trading, and you have to equally mention losses and profits. And if they find that the profits are mentioned in an unequal proportion, you can actually get horrendous fines. So these marketing people who are coming from other industries, right? They're coming from, you know, maybe selling courses on digital marketing, or selling physical products for people, or selling, I don't know, you know, anything that isn't related to trading. And then they try to apply the same sort of ideas onto the trading community that has a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of rubbish around. You have to be very, very careful. And, you know, you have some very unscrupulous individuals who will, you know, try and charge you $12,000, $15,000, $20,000, and then they teach you the pure basics. So, you know, all of you have been scarred from those experiences. So whenever you're trying to introduce a product to our community, you just can't use the language like, yo, profits, come join me. Because everybody's going to be like, bullshit. And they're going to mistrust you like immediately. So I tried 3 different marketing teams, and every single one of them had this idea how they're going to sell. So all 3 failed spectacularly. They generated exactly 0 sales, right? For anything. Our indicators, they couldn't even sell the indicators that sell themselves. It's like, dude, really? So I just decided that I'm not going to work with marketing people, and that I know my audience better because I'm one of you and I know what I need. And I always try to create my messaging starting from that point of view. What does that, like, you know, I, as a business owner, I am a servant for people's needs, right? So what do you need? Well, we need a good market profile that works straight out of the box. Great. We create that. What else do we need? We need to know which prop firms are legit and which prop firms are a little bit off. Now, none of them are perfect right now, okay? None of them are perfect. But I think that I chose, obviously Apex is there because it's the cheapest by far. And honestly, guys, I don't see what the problem is. I requested a 2K payout. It got approved within, I don't know whether it was like 3 hours. And as long as you're within, like right now you have that pretty good dashboard that tells you whether you are within the rules or not, which is much better than the last time that they were doing this, where they were like, create a video, send it to us. This is one of the reasons why I created that short where I'm making fun of all the rule changes. And, you know, it's like, we will send Borg to assimilate you because you can't trade. And they will give you an affiliate code and we need to assimilate more people. It is the same kind of thing, but you know, Apex is one of the largest firms around. They're the cheapest, and honestly, the process of now what they've done, I don't see a problem with it. You know, I did see a problem with it about a year or two ago when the whole mess was happening, and I wasn't with them, and I, you know, noticed that I didn't mention them once, but they've tried to listen, and they tried to make changes and to bring out new products that will speak to the community while still maintaining the 20 accounts and all of that. And I'm not in favor of 20 accounts, especially not for people who don't have proven consistency. I don't even do 20 accounts because to me, I don't really need them, right? I'm, you know, to like what, flex that I made $200 times 20. I would rather have, you know, 3 accounts or 4 accounts where I make $2 grand in each and the end result is still the same, right? But hey, that's me. I just think that the upfront cost for somebody who doesn't have like proven consistency is a stupid cost, very stupid. But if you're at the point where you want to scale capital, I mean, all prop firms now offer multiple accounts. So whichever one floats your boat, go there, you know, regardless of, you know, whether I have a code or not. Because honestly, I'm only ever going to support the firms that I've dealt with and I either know very well or and I mean, most of them I know pretty well at this point, and, you know, a lot of them know me as well. But a lot of them I say no to as well. You know, every single day I get an email about, hey, you know, do you want to support this prop firm? Usually there's CFD firms and a couple of futures firms as well. But to me, I'm like, well, you don't support algorithmic trading. I'm an algorithmic trader. So how would that work? I'm like, yeah, go to Take Profit Trader, and then you can't do bots in case you are also like me. So obviously I'm only going to support a very small amount of firms. And, you know, if you guys feel like you're inclined to click those little links and use the codes and assign that to me, I appreciate it. But again, I'm not going to force anyone with a stick. It's entirely up to you. It is nice if you do, so thank you. All right, so this crude oil whipped down below the previous low, went absolutely nowhere, which is kind of what I was expecting anyway. So I'm actually willing to sit here and allow it to do whatever it needs to do, because it's still battling this value area low. And they keep wicking around it. There was also an exhaustion volume bar, which you probably can't see from my mug here, but let me change this to this. So, and actually if Francis is still around, this is the thing that I was talking about, the exhaustion bars, right? So here's one, this big wicked bar with decent size volume. Now, one caveat is that it's not the largest. And this is probably a function of the rollover. But it's still large enough to kind of take note. Because last time that this happened, this one wasn't even a wicked candle. It brought a little pullback upside. So is that going to happen again? Maybe. Statistics say yes. but we still have the possibility of the value acceptance at some point coming true and then just rolling it all the way down. And in that case, this is not going to be a range day despite the rollover, and that's absolutely fine. And in the meantime, I'm still waiting for copper to rise. Rise, copper, rise. Run, Dover, run. So we'll see whether this 625 causes a reversal. There is the Asia high. If they wick through the Asia high, then reverse, I wouldn't mind shorting here because, you know, I don't know whether we're going to have enough juice to head all the way to 630. If they do, you know, if they kind of run it up there, this would still be a responsive activity trade. Why? Because the value area high is located here. So we open inside value, went below it, then you had the market makers stepping in at 620 weak put area, bringing it back. That's a responsive fade. Why? Because they exited the value, they tried to exit the value, and then they couldn't do it and they bring it back. So now that's the same thing that I'm expecting to the opposite side, where they take it way above value or a little bit above value, and then somebody steps in and pulls it back. So we'll see whether that happens. And they could wick it all the way up to 630. That's where we have average session range high for the London session. That would be like the most ideal setup, but we're not there yet. So what do we have right now? We have 625, but we're still inside value. So we do need them to make an attempt at exiting value in order to get a better risk profile and a better profit margin as well on that trade. Because the range trades usually call for the middle of the profile or POC, like developing POC or any sort of middle that you can find. It can even be session VWAP, you know. Nanka also asked, what do you mean Globex VWAP? The one that opens as soon as the market reopens after the maintenance period. So the VWAP that you see here is anchored to that. And it is a level that a lot of institutions use to make their mark. Because that is the kind of like a moving average, but with the with volume attached to it. So it's better. And it just tells you where a lot of the volume was also traded. So that's why it's so reactive on some products. Arguably not that reactive on crude oil, but gold, silver, and copper, like metals in general, they actually really have a huge effect. Like every time you run VWAP, more often than not, VWAP is going to cause a reversal. And if it's sloping, that's generally a better, an even better setup, where let's say you are constantly trending down, VWAP slope is sloping downwards, and actually I learned that from Anne-Marie Band. If it's sloping, that means there is a trend. So if on a day you get a test of that nicely sloping VWAP, that's actually a really good area and very simple area to run a directional continuation move. And sure, I have a whole bunch of other fancy stuff that I look at personally, but if you just want to keep it a little bit more simple, that would be the way to do it. All right, they're still trying to decide here. No move either side. Gold, flatter than Cape Moss's chest, so that needs to change before I do anything with gold. Again, I would prefer gold to wick up to this moderate 4150 area before I short it. It's so wicky. It's been very wicky. So large stops on gold, very large. We currently are working with, let's have a look at the average daily range. So yesterday was 917. Average day range now, after yesterday's and the previous day shenanigans, is over 1,000 ticks. Great. So yeah, this is a very volatile product. And you can't be trading, like if you're trying to trade gold on like 30 tick stops, and you're going, it's not working, I'm not surprised. Because you're using like the tiniest portion of the average daily range. Always have stops that are volatility adjusted, however you do it. We had Coach Paul in Top Step that used 5-minute ATR times 2. I use average session range divided by a certain number because that gives me an overall picture rather than just mixing and matching like different sessions, which doesn't quite work for me because, you know, a lot of the times we might have crude oil that's pretty quiet in Asia and then I want to trade it in London, but then those sort of ATR-based stops that are based on a 5-minute are still using the ranges that are typically quieter, obviously not recently, but typically, if you look at many years, are typically quieter and smaller, and then you're using a stop size that is not appropriate for the volatility of the session that you're looking at. So to me, a better way to do the stop scaling based on volatility is to go back a certain number of days, look at the average range and just get a portion of that average over a number of days. And to me, it brings a much better idea of what my maximum stop loss size should be. If I can make a slightly smaller stop, that's fine, but a lot of the times I don't bother. I just plop in the default size stop and that's it. Do or die. Gives me plenty of room. You know, it is down to the emotional regulation as well. So for me, if I'm nervous in a trade, that's never a good thing. I'm always like, you know, trembling whenever I'm trying to use a small stop. I'm like, oh, yeah, is it going to, is it going to, and, you know, my products are pretty jumpy. So crude oil, back to slippery self. We need to bring out the mug. Actually, we never, I think the mugs are still there. Crude oil is slippery, it says, and there's Bob on it. I do have those mugs. I need to start bringing them out again. Gold, even more slippery. Oh my God. Like, gold is just spiky. Yesterday, it wasn't even news. It decided to go on a massive pullback of 300 ticks in a single 5-minute bar. So it's like, you can't trade that on a 30-tick stop. You just can't. I mean, unless you're asking for it, I suppose. So yeah, volatility scale stops. That is the name of the game. Dr. Dax says, I'm into equities. Strange with the name Dr. Dax, eh? Never would have guessed. I'm into equities and rarely traded gold. It's highly volatile, always ended up negative overall in GC. I want to enter commodities that are not NQ-like. Any suggestions for something stable? Copper. Now, the caveat with copper is that not many companies have micro copper, so you have a choice, really, of top step. Again, the issue there is that you have to go to top step X, which, again, for me, means that I can't run my bots, or, you know, I tried, and then they pushed me into live, then I couldn't run bots. But yeah, so I did put a little reply on Brett Simba's Twitter post. He said, well, what should we improve? And I said more alternative products like micro copper, RBOB, micro silver as well. So here's the thing, trade day, you can do micro silver, but you still can't do micro copper. So it's like, I don't know who picks their products for all of these firms, but we need to have the micros. We need to have the micros. I'm okay trading full copper because while it is expensive and it can smack you on the face, you can't trade it on a 50K account. But 100 to 100K, I'm actually pretty comfortable with it because it's just not like, if you look at the price action on copper, look at how decisive the candles are. They're not like up and down, like compared to gold. It's like wick, 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 wick. Wick, 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 wick. It's like literally like somebody is just playing like, I don't know, pinball or something. Pew, 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 pew. And I am overall positive, quite positive on GC, but I'll tell you there are days when I'm bloody annoyed with the price action on it. Because I'm just like, stop doing that. Just stop. Just fucking stop. And, you know, that's gold. It is very much NQ-like. So if you're looking for something that isn't NQ-like, have a look at copper. I think you might be quite surprised. And since you've traded DAX, I actually think that price action-wise, copper and DAX are not too dissimilar in the way they make the moves. In fact, I would argue that DAX is probably a little bit more volatile and a little bit more jumpy. but it has that same feel to it. Like when they commit to a direction, you know you're not going to have up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down for a million times before it actually moves somewhere. It's just like, we're going up. This is now reversal, and now we push. We end up as a Mariposa candle. The end. Very, very, very beautiful to trade, right? Very comfortable to trade, despite it being a pretty expensive contract. And I'll tell you that a lot of the current sort of balances that I have in my funded accounts, they are largely copper. A lot of MGC as well, but largely copper. Especially if I'm trading it. Like, if, never mind the bots. I don't care what the bots are doing. Half the time I'm not even awake to see it. But if we are looking at, if I'm sitting here looking at what to trade, I will choose copper over GC, because GC irks the hell out of me. I just, you know, same reason why I don't really like NQ, but because gold is a commodity and I know it really well. I've traded it as long as I've traded crude oil, 2013, and I know how it's going to move. But am I still annoyed by it? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, especially when it's wagging around like by 300 ticks. It's like, who does that? Just stop. And it's just the nature of the product that's gotten more speculative, because now everybody wants to trade gold. How many gold traders did you know? Because I know you've been around, Dr. Dax. How many gold traders did you hear about only like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? None, right? Everybody was like, NQ, ES, NQ, ES. And then suddenly, it's like, what do you trade? Oh, I trade gold. Oh, you trade gold, do you? Okay. Since when? You know, 2 years. And that's why you have a lot of traders in that market who are now contributing to the speculative nature of gold. And anytime that happens in a thin market, what do you get? You get spiky price action. Because not everything is being driven by dealers. Now everything is being driven by a mixture of dealers and a whole bunch of people who are a little bit uninformed, and yet the retail has so much volume behind it now that it's messing with the institutional flows. So that's my take on it. But yeah, copper is something to test out. It moves great for Asia. It moves very decently in the overlap. So not so much for the beginning of London. So just avoid the first sort of 2-3 hours of the London session. And then it's just moving super, super beautifully. It's like very nice. But it does like to mean revert during COMEX, especially into Euro close. Be mindful. That's the thing that we call the post and white cut reversal. Us market stalkers. Francis says, hey D, sorry I had to nip off, but great to see you smashing your own thing. Pleasure was all mine, you legend. Hey, you're the legend, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Shoot me a message sometimes. Especially if you're somewhere near London, because obviously I'm about an hour and a half away from London, but if you come down south, definitely let me know. Hi Finn says, last night Dakota went long in gold. He watched it go up 99 points, so that's 999 points? It's the same as ticks, isn't it? But if it's 99 ticks, or is it $99? If it's $99, then it's like, yeah, that's like almost 1,000 ticks, isn't it? Because it's the same. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about, yeah? So it goes up massively. But then, what do I say? I say that when Tokyo closes for lunch, time of day is a level. Time of day is a level. When Tokyo closes for lunch, right after that, you usually get a top or a bottom for the Asia session. We can talk about that when we do that future Globex session. But here it is. There it is, right? Time of day is a level. Tokyo lunchtime, a whole bunch of people not trading now. What does Shanghai do? It reverses. So it's like the same sort of mechanics as we have between London and COMEX. London takes it up, COMEX takes it down. Asia takes it back up, and then first part of Asia takes it back up, but then Shanghai shakes it out, takes it back down. It's the same Tom and Jerry chase, right? Cat chases mouse, mouse chases cat, all of that. Time of day, very important. Now, this high or low can happen anywhere between the start of Tokyo lunch up to the Tokyo reopen. So here's the thing about Tokyo. They have this weird thing where they just decide that they're going to shut down the entire exchange and just go to lunch. It's weird, right? But as a result, you suddenly don't have a lot of volume that was trading in the beginning of Tokyo, and it comes back about 2-3 hours later. Let me just switch off some bots because I'm kind of seeing the lack of profit margin. I do have one of the things that runs the Asia breakout strategy on the copper, but I don't want it to run that today because there's not enough space between the Asia high and 630. This is where the human in the loop has to step in sometimes. Suppose the fade is still acceptable. If we wick above Asia high, then reverse. So I can run that. But I'm not going to run it on all of them. So I'm going to run it on 3 of them. Okay, so that's fine. So let's do this one, that one. And that one. Okay. So 2 Tradeifys, 1 Apex. Still working on the trade day evals. To be honest, I haven't really traded them much because I wanted to focus on the funders that I already have. But there's kind of slowly, like I've been doing like 1 or 2 trades a day, which is low for me. Usually I do about 5. Maybe more if it's a range day, for sure. And crude oil is reverting, but it's going nowhere quickly, which is all right. That is all within the rollover behavior, right? If you're in a range trade, it takes forever and a day to actually do something. But I'm going to stop staring at a 5-minute chart because there's no point. So we can now stare at a 15-minute chart. There we go. Nothing on gold yet. Middle of nowhere. Middle of Asia. Okay. MPC says, asking Vladimir what is Rojo. It means hey cuz, hey cousin. Rojak, Rojo. It's like slang for like Serbian slang for like hey dude, in a way. What did I do? What have I done? Yeah, I'm still getting used to Ninja. Granny D, have a senior moment. Let's just increase the bar width of these candles because that looks weird to me. Right, we're back. Let's see. I see MPC and Francis are chatting. Let's see. What did I miss? I missed something. All right. Do you support using a trade copier across these prop firms? So I'll be honest, I don't trust trade copiers myself. It's why you don't see me going, use the Replicanto, use this. I've tried about 3 of them. Frankly, they all have their problems. And the way I copy trade, if I am copy trading, I will usually use my bots on kind of same chart, but like duplicated. And that's like my version of copying things. I suppose out of all of them, Replicanter is just about okay. But again, even that sort of fucked up every so often. So I don't know, I just don't trust them. And especially now that all of the firms have these anti-hedging rules, I would be very, very careful with copiers. And you will lose accounts. And yes, it is against the CME things to hedge. You know, whether they're applying that the proper way is another thing, but we can't do anything about it, right? The anti-hedging is a thing with prop firms, and using copiers, I just feel that that will expose you to the risk of losing accounts because the trade copier fucks up. So it's up to you. I'm not in favor of them because, like I said, I don't trust them. If I run a strategy on like multiple charts, I know that all of them are going to fire at the same time, right? Because it's the same conditions. And with trade copiers, there's always a delay. So the master account does a trade, then the other one has a delay. So what happens if in this day and age of tape bombs, we get a tape bomb and one of them gets knocked out or something, but then the other one didn't quite kick in and yet it still had a stop in place, and now, or the other one doesn't get knocked out, but the copier was late with entry and doesn't kick off in time, but then kicks off the stop loss in the opposite direction. You see how that can go wrong, right? So, I don't know. For me, copier thing is just a negative. If I'm doing it manually, I will typically only have, maybe 5 fundeds across the board with multiple firms, maybe 6, but, that's because I'm designating it. So I have accounts that are only for Asia. Then I have one account that is only bots because I want to get some data on it. Then I have, 2 more accounts where it's a mix of both. I run the bots, but I also manually trade. And then maybe I have another one that is just the New York session. That's kind of how I use the funded accounts. I don't just, because, I obviously trade through multiple sessions. And the issue is that if you're not, if you're not trading through multiple sessions, then I suppose you can try, but I don't know, to me it's like so much risk. Imagine, generating 50k, 60k in your fundeds, and then you get done for hedging. All of that work, poof, gone, no money. So to me, that's way too big of a risk. That's just me though. Dr. Dark says maybe design bots for different props to execute only the daily bias. They be programmed to take the, yeah, so that's what I do. So let me show you what I have right now on MGC bots. So at the moment, I do have 3 of them. So this one is the Asia pre-Tokyo breakout strategy. Direction. Notice that I've switched off the long breakouts. Why? Because gold is quite evidently in a downtrend. So I don't want the bot taking the Asia low reversal when I know that that's probably not going to work because everything is so skewed to the downside. And similar with this one, enable long fades, that's off. So it's not going to take it. But I do have it across like 1, 2, 3, like across 6 different places. One of them is an eval. So different, we have different, and you can see bot placeholder, yeah. And here's another one, Apex. So they all have strategies on them. attached to them. That's the only thing that I trust, right? I do not trust copiers because they malfunction. Right, this is like the longest range trade on crude oil that I've been in. It's still valid. Yeah, it's still valid. Right, I think we have development in copper though. If we manage, let's go down to a 15-minute time frame and let me just have a look at what exactly is happening. All right, so it's not quite enough volume for the old bots to kick off, but it is enough for D as a manual trader. So what I am going to do, I'm going to try, first of all, wait and see whether we can close this 15-minute bar in 2 minutes time without a massive wick. So if it reclaims 625, that would be terrible. In that case, that is a no. But at the moment, they just slightly wicked above Asia high, just slightly. And on a 15-minute time frame, we do have a decent amount of volume. But on a 5-minute time frame, which is what my bots run on, they've decided that it's not quite there yet. I'm just going to look at the output and make sure that that is generally what's happening. So it does say sweep candidate, but the volume requirement is not satisfied. So volume would need to be 1.5 times the rolling volume. It's not there yet, but everything else is fine. So for me, for a human, that's good enough. Given the fact that I think that copper is still bearish, we just need to not have a buying wick on copper. Now, on gold, the buying wick is like, nah, whatever. But on copper, buying wicks are against the sentiment because it's so smooth. All eyes on how copper is finishing. So this one is an eval. But I might change it to the main one. This is my main Tradeify one. It has a nice bigger balance. Right, so we're not pulling up above it. Still looking relatively bearish. If the wick is more than the third of the size of the entire candle length, that's again even my invalidation as a manual trader. But if we manage to get the spread, because these two lines, they're the bid-ask spread, I would like to see that go slightly lower. Don't want to see it do this. And I'm also going to have a look at tape just to see what we have there. Nora says, what's up, D? You look amazing as always. Just all makeup, mate. All makeup. Thank you. Joe says, hello, D. Good morning. The platform you're sharing are using NinjaTrader. Yep, this is all in Ninja. These are our new indicator suite things. All right, so it's happening. Just want to glance the bookmap to make sure that we don't have things happening. All right, so it's all looking a little bit delta negative. Yeah, let's give it a go. Oops, that's the wrong thing here. I just pressed the button on MGC, and that is not what I wanted to do. All right, let me find the others. Okay. All right, we're in. So now I'm going to go on to the 30-minute time frame. Crude oil is starting to show signs of life as well. Let's see how the next 30-minute bar closes. Danger zone on gold here with the 4100 moderate put level. That could be support still. They're still fighting around it. So yeah, once I have my entry, I no longer stare at like tiny time frames. I just go on a 30-minute time frame and then I just track how that looks on a 30-minute time frame. Because once you're in, like there's nothing more to do, especially the way I trade. You know, I'm not looking for 5, 10, 20 ticks. I'm looking for 70, 80, 100, 110. And that means that I have to be a lot more patient. Oh, crude oil is woken up. Good morning, crude oil. Somebody gave you a bit of coffee or a line of Coke or something. Nice of you to join the party. Am I going to have to put a disclaimer now that there's drug stalking here? I hope YouTube doesn't ban me. Isn't this time of day important as America starts to wake up? That is absolutely correct, MPC. We have the overlap now. Now, the overlap can be a little bit tricky to trade, but in copper and crude oil, there are a couple of setups that do turn up with staggering frequency. But this trade on crude oil is literally purely just a range trade because of the rollover. This one on copper is the wick above Asia high and a reversal, which is something that does happen for this time of day. So let's see if we can get this day going. I was at a power cut last night, so, you know, I did have some bots, but obviously because of the power cut, I woke up around 6:30 in the morning and I was like, all the lights were on in the house. Because we have like Philips Hue lights, so they all like, everything was super bright. And I'm like, well, what? And then I looked at my computer and it was on like the entry screen. So I was like, okay, no trades for today. No bots for you today. Right, tape's looking alright. We just need a bigger drop now on copper. They need to drive it lower now that they tried to test above Asia high. Didn't make it. Would be nice if gold commits to the downside. Again, the danger here is that we're going to have the average session range low and then also some kind of a range trade. So that wouldn't be good. Okay, something's happening. We'll see how crude oil behaves around this developing value high. The orange line, that's a danger zone. Danger zone! A bit of Top Gun there on your ass. Alright. I'll just have a little peek into what's going on with crude oil. So, a bit of large stuff kicking off. Alright, sweep to the upside. Sweep. You're going to drive it higher? You drive it higher? Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Ah, they heard me. Ah, you see? Alright. They still need to push though, because otherwise we're in a range trade and then it's just going to go wah, 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 and then nothing. And I'm going to have to just take this 540 times whatever number or positions I'm doing. 1, 2, 3. So 3 accounts are running this trade. Come on. Come on. Looking alright so far. Okay. They're hesitating. They're hesitating. No, it's still range trade. Alright, you know what? Let's just book whatever we've got there. Because I am not going to be sitting here watching paint dry. Ah, yes, of course. Alright, I'm still in with some others. Whoa! Whoa! Day bomb! Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? If you want to see how that looks on tape, there it is. There it is. Okay. Alright, so I pulled off one early. The others got to full target. It's hilarious. Oh my god. Oh my god. Love the tape bombs when you're on the right side of them. Oh god. Alright, let's see if we can push this slower and get some targets. Get some targets. More downside on copper. You can do it. Come on. Come on. The problem with tape bombs is that they usually like bounce up. Like depends on what this was. Let's have a read. Trump, of course it's Trump. The US will be hitting Iran very hard tonight. We'll be taking Kong Island at some point soon. US will be taking oil infrastructure points. That is not good. Okay, so but I mean that's good for my copper trade, right? But yeah, generally that's not good. He's basically talking about taking over all of the resources. Like, how is this legal? I don't know. But yeah, wasn't that fun? Tape bomb. Right, this VWAP here is a little bit troublesome. Let's see if they continue higher or whether this will be just a standard shakeout. At some point in the not too distant future, we'll be taking Kong Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets. Yes. Yeah, I don't know whether this is going to hold, but hey ho, we grabbed a bit of cash on the day. So this is financial juice. Is it sustained? Okay, so this is the thing with tape bombs. The real question now, we're over the gamma flip. This is now technically supposed to go into positive gamma. That's interesting. This could be a bug. But yeah, so I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt on copper. Crude oil, because it's rollover, because this tape bomb usually doesn't last, we could find that it reclaims VWAP and then just drips slowly back towards the gamma flip of 90. If he continues to chat, then you can expect a bit more of a rise. So what do we have coming up? I mean, I suppose we have these weak chop zone area between 92 and 92.50. Then to the upside, the next sort of moderate area is 95. That was there's a gamma wall overnight actually, but it's still a moderate call wall. So if they continue higher, that could be the stopping point. I kind of doubt it though because of the rollover, because the volume is just not there at the moment. So I'm really putting my mouth where my money where my mouth is that the saying? On copper, because that one is not in rollover and it has a pretty decent chance of rotating further down past VWAP, which it's doing right now, which is very nice. Very nice. Okay. Wasn't that fun? Isn't it fun? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Do I trade NQ? No, mate. I fucking hate NQ. I can't stand the thing. I trade DAX out of the equities and ES occasionally, but ES for me is like more of a late day sort of thing. Whereas DAX, if I do find a setup, it's going to be either very early in the morning or maybe it'll be sort of towards the euro close. So it wouldn't catch the stream because it's like sort of the wrong time of day for that. At this time of day, I focus on metals and on crude oil. Purely because of the types of setups that you get during the overlap. Overlap is difficult to trade, especially if you have something like, let's say, Forex currencies, because you have the London session, which is, you know, one volatility regime, and then suddenly you get the overlap and a whole bunch of mess, and then you get the next sort of volatility regime. Typically expansion of it, so whatever stops you were using up to that point, they just get obliterated. The levels are different, the players are different, everything's different. So, but NQ, not for me. Way too old for that shit. If I want NQ, I can just trade gold. It's the same level of stress. But this is also the reason why most of my bots are on gold, because I can't stand it. Like, I look at it and I just emotionally cannot. It irks me, and you have to have the emotional control whilst you're doing manual trading. If you don't, that is what leads to tilt. And for me, gold is a huge mental trigger when it starts to jump around like a yo-yo and it can't make up its mind. But then it kind of drops and then it comes back up massively. And it's just like, stop doing that. And NQ, exactly the same nonsense. So it's not that I never trade NQ. It's just that I might trade NQ once every 3 months just because. I don't know what possesses me on those days, but I just go, hey, today I want to torture myself, so let's trade NQ. That took me to take profit on GC. Lovely. Alexandra says. Alexander, yeah. NPC said, oh yes, D-Mate, is your husband ex-British forces? Hell no. Hell no. He is a computer nerd, just like me. Runs away from anything related to fighting. The closest that he comes to anything like physical is weightlifting at the gym. He is a very fit guy, so, you know, he does go to the gym still to this day 3-4 times a week. He also swims. He likes swimming for cardio, but no, nothing to do with British forces. Full respect for those who are serving, and, you know, thank you. But the thing is, I went through 3 wars and I almost ended up being drafted in like this weird situation in former Yugoslavia. And basically, I cannot be with people who decide to make war their job because of my life experience. So I hope that makes sense. But again, I appreciate the soldiers who choose that line of vocation, I suppose, and they do go and risk their lives. However, to me, that would be kind of going against my principles, because I'm a pacifist. It just so happened that my life landed me in the middle of a war zone in the 90s when I was a teenager. Former Yugoslavia, that's where I'm from. And also the reason why I'm now fully British, because I don't want anything to do with that. Still love the country. Think they're a bit weird, but I can't live there. I'm sorry. I go to visit. I will always visit, and I will always be from there. But me actually living there, it's a no. Apex versus Lucid, anyone have any thoughts which they would go with? I think they're both great companies. I haven't done Lucid, I'll be honest. I should probably try them out now that I'm back in this game of trying things out. I need to see whether they allow bots, though, because if they don't, that is a huge deal breaker for me. I think they do, though. I think they do. I'll have a look. But yeah, for me, Apex, since the new Apex 2.0, where you have like the dashboard and you can see whether you've broken any rules, whether you're eligible for payout, how much payout can you get, that is so much better now than whatever mess they had going before. So I will continue to support them because of the cheapness of the evaluations, and now the choice. They have no activation evals that are a little bit more expensive. They still have the cheapo old style intraday drawdown for like 39 bucks. You can't beat that really anywhere. And again, I took a payout to see how their new, dashboard works. It got approved within hours, and it will take 3 to 5 days because obviously I'm using Wise, and I've always used Wise for them. So that usually takes a little bit longer. But, for me, I still love Apex. I still love Apex. I'm sorry, sue me. You want to keep your costs down. And I love Tradify as well, but it's a different product for different type of people, right? So if you're somebody who's a confident trader, you know what you're doing, you don't want to sit in valuations for too long, Tradify is the name of the game. But if you're still practicing and you still take, 20 resets to pass an evaluation, then Apex, I'm sorry, it's just how it is. Apex is king when it comes to multiple resets, or not even resets because they don't do resets now. You just buy an account for cheapest chips and you run it for 30 days and then you buy another account. So there's no more resets. And again, that's pretty good. Because before you used to have people who used to get billed and they're like, oh no, I got billed for an extra month. I forgot to cancel. Well, that's no longer the case. So, in my opinion, they really did work to improve the offering. They know that they messed up, definitely. And now they're just trying to keep Apex growing in this new way, 2.0 sort of way, where there's no ambiguity. They pay you out. You can see everything. And to me, that's a pretty simple process now. Before it was like, click the submit payout, and then you're like, oh my God, am I going to get a review? Oh God. And then you wait, and you're almost like on pins and needles whether you're going to get your money or not. Now that's gone, right? You submit a payout, you didn't break any rules, the account is in good standing, you get your payout. The end. But I'll try Lucid. Maybe that can be like next week. I can get a couple of Lucid evals and see what it does. So I'll have a look whether they do support. If somebody knows whether they support bots or not, let me know. You'll save me some time. Yeah. Tradify makes you be more careful, exactly, because you're not full porting. You paid a fair bit of cash for those accounts, the Lightning funded, and you're going to think twice entering a 15-lot trade to pass quickly, because there's no passing, right? You're in. It is much more expensive. I agree, Guzman. And this is exactly why it's not suitable for new traders, because it's too expensive. Like, your cost of entry on Tradify is a lot. And this is where Apex comes in. You can even go to TopStep, if you like TopStep X. They do like 49 bucks. But if you're over in Europe, they now attach VAT on top of it. So it's always 20% more. Or you can even do the old evals from Trade Day. They're now called Quick Pay, I think. But you're going to have to slog it out for 5 days to stay under the consistency rules. So, again, pros and cons. Apex doesn't have consistency rules. So, I don't know. It's, there's so much choice now, man. You get lost trying to keep up with all of that. And since I was like so sick for many years, I dropped the ball on quite a lot of stuff. I used to be like, yeah, Bullinox and, Elite Trader Funding and NinjaTrader, because those were the companies back in 2021, 22, when I was first considering this YouTube channel to be a little bit more serious. All right, so we've opened. The PPI is gone, I think. Has it been released? Let's just see what we've got there, and then I'm going to bounce, and that will be it for today. But I am going to give this a little bit of time to maybe show a bit of weakness here, because since we went up during London and arguably Asia, there should be some mean reversions. Let's step in. So let's see PPI. I would say that's in line, right? Oh, no, hold on. It's not out yet. Why isn't it out yet? Is it out? Oh, it is out. Yeah, it is out. Yeah, I would say this is in line. Yeah. So again, not too much new information there. Unemployment claims, though, a little bit higher. Not terribly high, because we have a very good NFP number, but then unemployment claims are up as well. So it's like, how does that work? So yeah, again, nothing groundbreaking on the macro side. I don't think it's gonna like screw up any hypotheses you've got. Gold is still short, short potential. Copper, same thing, arguably a little bit less screaming to the downside because nobody's panicking. Crude oil, doing crude oil things. You know, whether this tape bomb has any juice left, I don't think so. I think they're just going to run it down again. So watch out for a reclaim of 90 gamma flip. And if it rises up to 92, then you have a chop zone between 92 and 92.50. So I really doubt that they're going to do anything unless we get another external catalyst. And I don't know what else Trump can say to make that go even higher. So, yeah. All right, my lovelies, that's going to be all for me for today. If I don't see you again, have a lovely weekend. I'm going to see if I can run a Globex session sometime next week. We might do that on, or instead, one of the streams, because I do have quite a lot of stuff. I'm working on this like new project that should be very, very exciting. Again, I can't say a lot about it at the moment. But yeah, so I just need to like see my schedule and stuff. And then if there is a change, keep your eye peeled, or both of your eyes, just one eye, on the posts section on my channel. So if you have like videos, you have shorts, you have live, you have blah, blah, and then there's like posts section. So if I decide to change one of the streams from, let's say, you know, Tuesday to Monday night, not Sunday evening, so Monday evening is probably what it's going to be over here for me, the post will be there. And I will also do it on Twitter. I'm trying to post more on Instagram. I'll be honest, it slips my mind. But Instagram, you know, it's kind of like end of day digestion, kind of like what happened on the day and stuff. But yeah, I'm probably not going to be posting schedules on there. The best place would be posts section on my YouTube channel. And as always, check out the Pro Development Program if you want to learn to read the markets in this way, in a little bit more fancy way, but I promise you I put everything down in a very structured bite-sized pieces so that you can learn very, very slowly and then level up your skills over time. There's no rush when it comes to this line of work. It's just time, repetition, experience in watching the markets and how things play out, and then you slowly start to figure things out through this like lovely combination of auction theory, gamma levels, TPO profile, and average ranges. That's all for me. This was the Metal Markets. I'm Marcus Tokadi, aka Deeyana Angelo, and I will see you again next week. Have a lovely weekend. Take care.